Are you thinking of moving from Montreal to Toronto? In this video, we will talk about the differences between these two cities and what you should consider when choosing the right town to settle down. Hello, my name is Olena. I am a real estate broker here in Toronto. My team and I help our clients to relocate to Toronto or simply to choose a great neighborhood in the city. In this video, I will compare Montreal and Toronto based on my relocating clients' feedback and also my personal and professional experience. If you find this video useful, please like and comment down below, and if you're on my channel for the first time, please subscribe to stay tuned for more videos like this about living and relocating to Toronto as well as Toronto real estate. Let's begin. Choosing between Toronto and Montreal is not like choosing any city in North America to settle down. It means much more. It means choosing a lifestyle. The reason for this is that these two cities are completely different in many ways. To make my video more structured, I will discuss the most essential things about Toronto and Montreal. It will be lifestyle, culture, cost of living, and school and career opportunities. So let's begin with lifestyle. Toronto has been a financial hub of Canada for decades. In my mind, it is Canada's New York City. It is a place that has so much energy when you walk down the streets. Weekdays are very intense in Toronto with lots of traffic, transportation, rushing people, and constant construction going on practically everywhere. Now, Montreal is a big city as well. It is the second largest city in Canada, and it also has areas where you get that dense urban feel. For example, if you walk down Rani Lavette Boulevard, you are going to feel that you are in a huge city as well. It looks like Toronto and Montreal downtowns are very similar. However, Toronto downtown is not only a place where people work and shop, it is a place where a lot of people live. On contrary, in Montreal, downtown is a place where people mostly work, shop, and entertain. Montreal is often called a quieter city than Toronto, with a laid-back lifestyle. And that is a very common misconception to my mind based on the tourist experience who don't go anywhere except downtown when visiting Toronto. While Toronto downtown is very busy indeed, there are over 240 other neighborhoods in the city, and most of them are quiet, very private, residential, safe, and family-friendly. For example, Midtown Toronto and Toronto West Side are big areas with many quiet pockets where residents feel like the countryside. I am not saying that these areas have a laid-back lifestyle, as most of the residents are working professionals. However, these areas are peaceful and tranquil, featuring highly ranked private and public schools, small local infrastructure, and high walkable scores. You may contact me for more information if you need guidance when choosing a neighborhood to settle down. For a laid-back lifestyle, you may check the east side of Toronto, the neighborhoods like Leslieville, and especially the beaches. These are not only family-friendly but also have wonderful waterfront scenery where people walk and jog and where it feels like a resort city, especially during the warmer seasons. So you don't have to worry about Toronto being busy and noisy. People in the city always find a place that meets their expectations. What we lack in Toronto, though, to my personal opinion, is a bit of architecture. The beauty of Montreal is in its 3-4-story buildings, which give a European look and vibe. When my family was choosing between two cities, we agreed that Montreal was more aesthetically appealing, while Toronto was simpler and more pragmatic. It is of course your call. What would you like to have more in your life, beauty or practicality? Now let's talk about the cultural component in both cities. I mentioned before that Toronto and Montreal have different vibes. Toronto feels like a melting pot with numerous cultural and background communities and neighborhoods, while Montreal is more like one very consistent community with dominating traditions and habits. Toronto's diversity and variety of lifestyles are big welcoming factors for newcomers. The city is very accepting and tolerant. I am not saying that there are no issues in Toronto society. However, people welcome newcomers regardless of their level of English or French education or background, as it is very common to be new to the city. In many videos and blogs, people share that the biggest issue in Montreal is language. With limited or no French at all, your social, personal, and professional opportunities will be very limited. When you relocate to Toronto, you will feel that not speaking English limits your growth very much as well. So people who don't have English are trying to find their homes and jobs within the communities which speak their mother language. I think the biggest loss for both Toronto and Montreal is that they teach French and English as a second language in their schools, which means only 1 or 2 lessons per week. So as a result, kids in Toronto don't speak French after the school years and kids in Montreal lack English. To summarize the cultural component, I will say that you don't have to worry about how you fit in Toronto and if you are going to be accepted. In most cases, it is not an issue at all. You will most certainly find your place and will be accepted by the city if you do your research and connect to the resourceful people here. I offer my services to relocating clients who would like to make a knowledgeable and informed move. Please feel free to reach out. Now we will talk about the affordability and cost of living. If you Google this topic, you will find out that the cost of living in Toronto is much higher than in Montreal. You should base your own calculations on the following factors: cost of buying and owning or renting your Toronto home. Second, cost of utilities, phone, internet, TV. Third, transportation costs, whether you own car or use public transit. Fourth, groceries. Fifth, your own minimum comfort level of earnings in Toronto. I'm adding the link to the video Cost of Living in Toronto, which I created earlier to give a wider understanding of Toronto's affordability. So let's start with the cost of housing and compare Toronto and Montreal based on the numbers from November 2022. The average selling price of a detached home in Toronto is $1,609,000. In Montreal is $510,000. The average selling price of a condo in Toronto is a little bit over $740,000 and in Montreal is $350,000. And you can rent a 2-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood in Toronto starting at $2,800, while in Montreal the price will be around $2,400. The numbers from Montreal were provided by my colleague, real estate broker in Montreal, Juan Saad. Please don't hesitate to give him a call if you have any real estate questions about Montreal. You can see his contacts on your screens, and I will also include them in the description below this video. The cost of utilities is approximately 60% higher in Toronto than in Montreal. Internet is 12-13% more expensive. Phone is about the same cost. Transportation. A monthly pass in Toronto will cost you $156, while in Montreal it is $94. Car insurance in Montreal is approximately twice lower as in Toronto. Groceries on average are the same cost in both cities. A sales tax in Toronto stores is 13%, whereas in Montreal it is 15%. The minimum wage in Montreal is $14.25 and in Toronto is $15.50. To live in Montreal, you must make approximately $5,000 and you will need $8,000 to afford Toronto. As you can see, the earnings are almost the same, but the cost of living is much higher in Toronto. If you consider moving to Toronto, please make sure you create your own cost of living list. It may include your kids' tuition, buying or renting a property in a premium location or with premium features, and maintaining a desirable lifestyle. I always point out to my relocating clients that even though any change will require some sacrifice, relocation must not downgrade the comfort and lifestyle you got used to. Now let's talk about schooling and career opportunities in both cities. When you compare schools in Toronto and Montreal, take a look at the data provided by Fraser's Institute. I compared the numbers of elementary schools with a score of 8 and higher in both cities. This number included public, Catholic and private schools available on Fraser's Institute website. In Toronto, there are 50 highly ranked schools, while in Montreal there are 23 of them. Let me remind you that the population in Toronto is almost 2.9 million residents, and the population in Montreal is almost 2 million people. As for the universities, I think both cities are very comparable, featuring the University of Toronto and McGill University among the best Canadian and well-recognized schools in the world. My advice to the parents who are choosing a city where their kids are going to study: whether it is a school or university, is to choose very carefully, as you are selecting not only a city or a school, but the environment where your kid will get habits, learn a lifestyle, create connections, and most likely will stay for the rest of their lives. If you need assistance with choosing a neighborhood with great public or private schools, please reach out. I'm here to help. I hope this video is helpful for those of you who plan to relocate to Toronto. If you feel that my team and I can help you with choosing the right place to settle down in Toronto, please contact us by calling, texting, emailing, or even commenting down below this video. We are actively using WhatsApp, Viber, and WeChat for your convenience. Also, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell button to be notified every time I post a new video about living in Toronto as well as its real estate. Please comment down below with your questions, and if you are thinking of moving to Toronto or simply relocating to a great neighborhood, I will be happy to help. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next videos.